What's going on, troopers? Welcome to the Trooper Transmission. CT3939 here, along with my man Marcos, and we're going to be breaking down Season 3's Episode 13, Into the Breach of the Bad Batch. And so, without further ado, let's dive in. And this episode has a theme that we're experiencing now as Marcos is on the go in Sweden with the snow. And sometimes you got to change an audible. So
that's right. You got to adapt and overcome. So it is what it is.
He's channeling his inner Bad Batch, which is always on brand as a trooper. So
that's right.
Let's dive into the review. And so we always do it the same way. Top moments, predictions moving forward, and then a reminder, hit your Fit for the Republic challenges. If you're watching this and you're not getting fit for the Republic, you're letting down Captain Rex. You're letting down Omega. Every day she's sitting there in prison, needing someone fit enough to go and save her. And every day you're not able to do that. She suffers. Children suffer because you're not getting fit for the Republic. It doesn't just have to be Omega. It could be your family. It could be your country. It could be your community. So do your job, get fit for the Republic, and use one of the challenges on this channel to do so.
No excuses.
Fun. Yeah, no excuses. All right, so Into the Breach. And speaking of having a plan, these guys trying to come up with a plan. And one thing I kind of thought of as I was watching this little docking station or station just in general is kind of like the Death Star. It's sitting there hovering a big giant planet, and I'm sure it's getting a shield maybe from Coruscant, but some of the rooms they go into in this remind me a lot of Episode 4, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, exactly. And it just, you feel like the weight of the situation as well, and kind of it, like you said, it's that little kind of foreshadowing of what's to come, right? But just at a bigger scale, obviously.
Yeah, and they start out the episode. I forget the name of the planet, but it was kind of a callback to where they were with Fennec Shand, the floating Tapoka City. At first, I was like, "Oh, it's Cloud City. This is going to be interesting."
I thought it was Cloud
City. Yeah. It was the same platform that Cad Bane, Fennec Shand kind of fight over Omega for on.
Right. That was the meetup with who was it? It wasn't
Echo.
What's that?
With Echo. Oh yeah, they were trying to find I think Lama Su or something.
Yeah. It was just they were doing the handoff there, but it was I guess the Prime Minister was trying to broker that, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And so yeah, the Bad Batch convince Rampart, which I just love this episode because Rampart's like, "Oh, I'll just be an asshole. I'm good at being an asshole. This is easy for me. I'm gonna fit in." And so he looks at his thing, Captain Gross.
Yeah, I mean, really, like the guy. I mean, it's not like he has so many options there. They rescued him from a freaking Imperial prison, and he's lucky to even be out and have his semi freedom at this point. And he has the gall to like say, well, "I can't wear this. This is a captain's uniform." They're like, I just love the silent look that they gave him. Like, are you serious?
And Captain's not a low rank. Like Captain Nita gets to interface with Darth Vader.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, he's not an admiral or a commander or general or whatever, but it's like, dude, that's not a bad position to be in. So it's kind of funny. And then I loved when he looks at the dude and he's like, "Lieutenant, get out of here."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he just has such arrogance. It's I mean, it's almost an art form. I mean, the guy, he's a master at that. And obviously he was a vice admiral, so I mean, he's been playing the game for a long time. So he slid right back into that so comfortably.
Yeah, but also at the same time too, what better disguise than to be able to quote Article Section 15 and drop the book on someone and they're just scared out of their mind. So yeah, I love that part. And honestly, I totally get that there's TK troopers and clone commandos. I actually thought this was kind of all the Star Wars like bad ideas that somehow pan out. I thought this one actually made the most sense.
Yeah.
Because the armor's weird, but you look at a Clone X And if a Clone X walked onto that base, it would have similar armor to Echo.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So you'd just be like, yeah, these are secret operative troopers, and I'm a captain, and leave us alone.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way for them to verify that in that moment, especially when they say, "Oh my, this is classified." It's like, okay, well, at that point, it's who can really like, you know, um, be the most arrogant in that moment, to kind of overcome, that the questioning at the, that one of the officers is posing. So it's like it's the equivalent of saying like, oh, check your facts.
Yeah. And
Somebody's
I'd be interested to see an episode or just a quick scene, because most of the time it's, oh, I don't want to overstep and get in trouble because I question someone who said it's classified. I'd love a other side of the coin where someone says, classified my ass. You're coming with me, and just like call
yeah,
the bluff, but then see him be wrong and have it actually be classified. And then you see
right,
him thrown in Imperial prison, because that's what they're fearing, is if they call this bluff wrong,
right.
then they get in trouble. If they don't call it and they say, hey, you're right, you go, then they also get in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, in this case, I think in real life it would be like, if you're on guard duty, or if you have a post, I mean, you're responsible for that post, and rank doesn't really matter. So, I mean, I think that you know, this is a super toxic environment that they're in, and that just goes to show you kind of like how the empire has kind of structured their hierarchy. Is really like, you see how toxic this whole environment is, because somebody who is actually responsible for this like area and is just doing their duty that they've been charged with, is, there's so much politics and red tape and everything else, that they're feeling like this is like career suicide if I was to go against
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah. No, totally. And then the end, that's what I thought was kind of interesting. Also, I thought it was really cool because you see the same scene of them flying into the docking station. Then
Mm.
there's little compartments that they go into. We never got to see that. So I was always like, how is this Death Star absorbing so many ships, but they have little parking garages inside the big parking garage? That was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, exactly. You get a little bit more of the nuts and bolts, and kind of the little the underlings that are actually making this run on the day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So
It
that
actually, this episode, the more I talk about it, the more I like it. It makes episode 4 more interesting for me.
really.
Yeah. Because you get to see, obviously, people know that captains mean this and lieutenants mean this, but just being able to have this shown in live action, them actually like acknowledge what the blue and red markers mean, being able to see, because they go into we'll get to this in right here. This is exactly where Han and Chewie and Luke were, and so we get to see
Yeah.
this scene again, and we
What
get
does
to
he say?
see,
What did he say when they're like, "What's going on?" They call the trooper on the radio, and he's like, "Oh yeah, everything's all clear.
yeah,
Uh,
how are you? And
how are you? Yeah, how are you?"
yeah, it's like boring conversation anyway. Luke, we
Right.
got to get out of here.
The guy's like, "Who is this?"
Yeah, but it's like we see this again, but from a little bit of a different angle. And so as I was going through this scene, I was like, guys, you just stun raid the weird chicken face dude, the
Chicken.
gunner. You gotta you
Right,
gotta you gotta blow the cameras,
right.
right? They
That's
gotta
true.
blow, but they didn't blow the cameras. But
They didn't blow out the
um,
camera. Blow the cameras.
yeah, I
Or
was
maybe
waiting
Echo
for
did when he hijacked the link there.
true. I was waiting for Rampart to get on the microphone though and be like, "We're fine, everything's fine. How are
Yeah,
you?"
that would have been. Yeah, that would have been. I think that actually would have been pretty cool. That
Yeah.
would have been odd to episode 4.
Yeah, that would have been a funny nod. And then Rampart's over here just grilling him. How long is this going to take? He's like,
Yeah,
why
he's
are
like,
you
"Well, was
taking?
you yelling at me?"
Yeah, yeah. And so he's always on brand, always, just
Yeah,
I like his
I mean,
hair. I will say he's got a good
yeah,
look. He looks like he'd
but
be on The Bachelor. Like
yeah,
it's Star Wars Bachelor. Rampart would be a good person because it would
Imp-
create so much drama. Because every woman he interacted with, he'd be like, "Who are you to challenge me?" She'd be like,
Right, right,
"I'm Rebecca from
right,
Tennessee."
right. No, but it's how many Imperials do you see with a beard? Like, that's not common.
No, they're not supposed to have a beard. So
Yeah,
that's another thing too, where like,
so,
should he have stood out more?
yeah, that's what I was like thinking. I'm like, I'm pretty sure their policy is, their like personal appearance policy is essentially like clean shaven.
Yeah. But at the same
So
time, again, you see someone without a beard, but the last thing I would expect on that docking station right next to Coruscant, like
mhm.
the heart of the empire.
Yeah,
The last thing
exactly.
you're thinking is that a vice admiral is sneaking on, leading the Bad Batch to do this.
Right,
So again,
right. And
classified.
it's almost like I mean, it kind of goes back to this I guess mindset or mantra of like fake it till you make it,
Yeah,
because in this case they have to like act with such confidence to overshadow like people like looking at them as or really to have people overlook them, right? To be like, okay, well there's no way that they're that that bold to be basically breaking in to this imperial station. And it's they come in with such confidence and swagger that it's like they like people don't really think to question them, and
yeah,
it's just obviously there's a bias there, and clearly it's I think it's if you look the part, right? Look the part, act the part, and it got him enough over that hump to be able to obviously enter the premises.
yep, 100%. This scene was fun with the droids giving Echo grief and basically being like, "You're not supposed to be here." And the clone commando sees something going on, and Echo's able to sneak up into the droid suction thing, which is something that we see in other Star Wars episodes. So it's cool to see an R2 unit or multiple R2 units. But then
Right.
it was cool to see. I think it's in the X-wing where R2 gets sucked up into that. And so we see kind of a similar contraption that this ship is using, and Echo's like, hell, I'll just climb up it. I have no idea where it ends up, but we obviously see it goes to a specific area. So we've never seen that as a way for
No,
someone to
no,
sneak
no,
onto
no,
a
no.
ship.
I thought they were about to call him. I thought he was about to alert like somebody or send up a mouse droid or something like that, like call a mouse droid, or just trigger some kind of alarm or something like that. But I guess
Yeah.
he was just more. I think they were kind of pressed to get into the ship. So it kind of just like looked and was like, but I'm wondering if there's some kind of connection there because it looked like he recognized Echo for some reason, and then kind of scurried off. I don't know.
Mm.
Was that me or did you get that?
I thought it was more of like a, hey, you're not supposed to be here.
Okay, and then they got
No.
called like hurry up.
Yeah, like I think of droids as Star Wars dogs, and
Right. Oh, okay,
sometimes
okay.
the
Yeah,
dog's going to be like, hey, you're not supposed to be in this backyard.
right. And they just kind of, maybe they smell or like see them as, hey, you're out of place, like you're in the wrong context. But it's like I said, he had a mission, so he was kind of like focused on getting to the ship, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, he's definitely gonna, knock out a TK, put on their armor, and walk it in." But I don't think
Right.
there would have been time.
Right. Thoughts on real quick on that? It's so we had the commando kind of take notice. What was your
Yeah,
thoughts there? You think they were gonna have a confrontation, or I mean, it was getting like the tension there was getting really, really high.
yeah,
Like the room for error was like zero at that point. And obviously we know the commandos are, very like sensitive to that, and they're observant, and you can see he didn't just like let it go, like like the TK troopers. They just they hear something, they know it's probably out of place, and and shouldn't be there. No, it may be a little bit off. They don't follow that up, but the commandos, they actually start to think a little bit ahead and say, okay, well, let's check this out a little bit more.
yeah. I just thought with the time left in the episode, 22 minutes, 24 minutes, there was no way they were gonna spend more time. So
Right.
I thought it was cool that he recognized it and followed it up. It showed that difference between a TK and a
Yeah.
CC.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it made the scene even more tense as
Mhm.
well. Like you see that because it's like, oh my gosh, like this isn't just a regular regular trooper, what's gonna happen here?
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely enhanced that.
Exactly. On the flip side, you've got Omega.
Mhm.
She's sitting in there with a bunch of kids at preschool. And this really creeped me out. So these AZ units, you have their eyes here. So I've always
Mhm.
been like, oh, these are their eyes. This is like their other eyes, nose and mouth right here. I don't know if you noticed that, but that made
No, I didn't
this is
know.
like three different areas where you can insert discs or like uh
Ah, okay.
different drives, but
Right.
it's more just I thought this was like the nose and the mouth. Anyway, seeing this threw me for a loop up close. We've got
Mhm.
another doctor. He looks like a 1970s, 1980s guitarist, and
Yeah.
then Clone Commando here. And Omega's already trying to figure out how to get out. And I thought it was kind of cool seeing her put together a plan, lead, rally the troops. We get the name of the little baby. We get the name of the little blue gal right
Mhm.
over here.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. Do you think it's gonna work?
I mean, I just like the fact that Omega's got like a real like you can tell like her whole demeanor has changed. And now she has these eyes that are like I don't want to say like a little bit dead, but they definitely have she has experience in her eyes now. You can see it. Like
There's no
she's
naivety.
yeah, exactly. That's gone. Like that you can like clearly see that there's a difference in her just her whole demeanor, and specifically her eyes. And really just like this kind of quiet confidence, and always evaluating. She realizes that there's eyes on them all the time, and you kind of see the other kids. They're a little bit like, huh, like very aloof as to they haven't been anywhere. They've only been in this. Like the idea of even escaping was so far. I mean, they want them. The blue guy. He what was his name again? The blue kid or the green kid?
Green Jacks.
Yeah, so he made the obviously like a feeble attempt to escape and didn't go their way, and after that they were very like beaten down from that, very discouraged. So Omega's just like, hey, I've done this before, we can do it again, and you sense that it's like very matter of fact.
Hmm.
um but super cool to this gives me like a kind of like a Goonies like vibe,
Yeah.
you know type thing, and I really enjoy that. And I love the fact that they like really like didn't, although Omega's got it together, like there's still little hitches here and there, like as she's trying to um expose these little bricks in the wall and stuff, and they fall, and they just add that extra layer of tension to the scene, to build that.
Well, and that other gal is calling Emery on her way of doing things.
Right.
And so it's cool seeing other agents or other scientists, members of this group saying, hey, what's going like we don't think how you're running things is
Protocol.
protocol. And it's already kind of giving that foreshadowing to
Yeah.
Emery having something happen. And so this isn't one of my predictions, but I think it makes a ton of sense for Emery to end up helping Omega. Emery getting, you know, a lightsaber put through her by Darth Vader. Or I'm just going to hold on to hope until the end of episode 16 that Vader comes to Tantus to clean up every character that we don't see after this episode or after this season.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but yeah,
No,
that
but you see that I think Emery is already aware. She's like doing little things, so hoping that Omega will pick up on. Like she allowed them to, under the guise that they're activating their brains, but really she's allowing them to organize.
hmm
And she set the tools down right next to Omega, and she's not that ignorant. She understands what's happening. She understands protocol, and she set the tools down right next to her, and stepped away from them. And then when she was gonna walk out, she kind of looks back at her, and she knows what tools she has and what she doesn't have. There's only like five of them on there, so it's like you see if there's something missing. But these, they don't make mistakes like that. So that's what I'm saying is that I think it's she's giving her little opportunities that she's hoping that Omega will pick up on, which she knows that she is. She's picking up the breadcrumbs.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because you would notice right away. Yeah, I'm missing a scalpel. Probably need to go and find that scalpel.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, with their security measures, like those kind of mistakes don't get made.
Yeah,
And like that was and again, you can see that she's kind of like she doesn't want to be obvious about it. She's trying to be as like, low key as possible. But Omega's, tracking, and she understands whether that's like conscious or unconscious, like that, she's taking advantage of the opportunities. Any advantage that she gets a hold of, she's taking it. She's taking it.
yeah. It would have been cool to see Emery putting, let's say, 3 or 4 items on a tray and then sliding on one extra, and then Omega almost having this like intuition to be able to see like, hey, this one's out of place, so I'm going to grab this one so that when Emery brings it back, she doesn't get in trouble. Because it's kind of like what happened is Omega assessed, hey, I'm going to grab this one of these 5 items, but it would have been cool to tie that a little bit more. That's just me thinking that would be cool. Not that they did anything wrong with how they rolled it out. A
Right.
slight part of me was like, wait, is Omega just gonna go on like a throat slitting rampage? Then I was like,
like
no.
like
Then I
basically
remember then I
use her as a
remembered where we're going next week and who owns Star Wars, and I was like, no, that's not happening.
right. Was she gonna do like a she was gonna do like a hostage situation, basically like grab the kids, get out of there
Yeah.
with Emery as a hostage. No, but and then you see that, and it's like the other scientists understand that this doesn't make any sense. Like this, there's something clearly going on. Is it ignorance on Emery's part or arrogance? And and then you see that obviously her colleague, right, the junior scientist, sees Omega trying to organize and maybe doing something that there was a little bit off, and she goes to check that out.
Yeah. Kind of surprises me that any random scientist in this group is able to just walk in. I always
Right,
kind of thought it was something that was super classified
right. Yeah,
for
yeah,
Hemlock.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think once they're inside, I guess once they're inside that bubble, they kind of are able to basically just move around as they wish.
Yep. So then final scene, we get Hunter. They cruise out in their ship and
Mhm.
they're letting Echo do his thing. He's trusting that Echo's going to get it figured out. And then in the final moment, Echo's able to get this ship's docking sensors turned
Mhm.
off, and then
Right,
they're heading to Tantus.
and this is where you see like the difference in like really like a leader here is because and you have experience as well, and it's like trusting the team, understanding that hey, there's sometimes where we're not going to have it all figured out, and it's more important to be able to adapt in the to the situation in that moment, and the trust that his guys have in him as well, to be able to just say no, we're moving forward. When you have
Mhm.
Rampart is just like going off at his ear, but you see his team is they're just standing by, they're waiting, what's the word, what are we
Mhm.
doing, but they're all in sync, and you see that like that's where Hunter I think really shines, is being able to make those hard decisions and understand when they need to pull the trigger on this, and when not having enough information is okay, like
Yeah.
we have to go now, like this is a critical moment,
Yeah.
and calling that shot.
Yep. So this is how I think it's going to play out.
Hmm.
I was thinking about this. We got Echo separated, which for me was like, man, there's a lot of chips that need to fall right on Tantus for all of these guys to get reconnected.
Hmm.
I could see Echo having to do one more thing to make sure that these guys get there. Echo dies. And then Crosshair has to do something to get Hunter into a building. Crosshair dies. And it's just like this step by step, like the last 2 or 3 episodes, like there's like a sacrifice and almost
Gee.
like this ladder of bodies to get Hunter
Oh
to
my.
save Omega.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that would.
First, it's because it's like either they slowly sacrifice themselves or it all happens in kind of a big moment. So I'm just kind of slightly leaning that it'll be a step by step sacrifice.
Right. 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 Okay. That's it. That's the prediction.
That's the prediction. Rather
Yeah.
than they're all in a room and Darth Vader comes and whacks them all out,
Hmm.
it'll be like they kind of fall. You kind of see it in I feel like medieval war movies, it'll happen this way, where it'll be like, the band of knights and like one will fall and then another will fall.
Hmm.
And then it's like the king saving the hostage or the princess or whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. This is kind of happening. I don't know if you've seen that show Shogun. Um, it's out right now. It's
Yeah, I know of it. I need to watch it. I haven't watched it
yeah,
yet.
like it's kind of like that type of, you have everybody playing their part, and there is this, the situation looks hopeless, but at the leader is kind of, put this plan into play where everybody knows their part, everybody knows what they have to sacrifice, but in order to move the ball down the field, like people have to essentially lose their life strategically. These are strategic losses that they're incurring, but it's you know in order to achieve the ultimate victory, like there needs to be like people that are willing to sacrifice it all.
Yeah.
And so it seems like it seems like that's kind of what you're saying, like there's going to be some strategic losses where they're like they know, they get put in a situation, or they get, they know that, hey, somebody has to like fill in here in order to keep everybody moving forward.
And with that too, then every character gets their own kind of moment where Echo he sacrifices himself, providing the final bits of the technology to undo security measures. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
always kind of been his idea, is getting around security. And
Mm-hmm.
then Crosshair maybe stays in a tower sniping and goes out with his special ability. And then Wrecker's able to lift something really big to, show off his strength and allow people to see that one last time.
Like bring the building down on top of him, something like that.
Samson moment. And then Crosshair has kind of sniper in the tower with a bunch of zombies coming to
The,
distract them to
the
get
same
away.
end moment.
Exactly. So that's my prediction on how they all die, which
Right.
is dark.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think that would actually be really like a really interesting way, and just like, gosh, like just an attrition, like, just a grind, like, on the way out,
Yeah.
uh and I mean, we know Tantus, it still stands, and it's going to continue. It continues on, so we know that they don't destroy it. Obviously, well, I mean, this is canon now, so maybe something changes, but um, yeah, I think they're going to go out all in one kind of big, like, you know, coup de grace kind of,
Yeah.
you know, stand type thing. I think that's what they're going to lean towards, but I'm actually kind of cheering for what you're talking about, which is, just a little bit more of, it is more dark. It is a little bit more possibly realistic as well, where it's like just this, this grind that they're going through. They realize like they're slowly like going towards what's the inevitable end. Um, but and sacrificing themselves.
Even Rampart, like you could throw Rampart in there. Like he gets them across checkpoint 1, and then
Mhm.
immediately after they get through checkpoint 1, they're like, "Wait, you're Rampart. Shoot him now." Bam, Rampart's gone. And then checkpoint 2, Echo's like, "Guys, I can get us through the gate, but there's only time for 3 of us." And they're like, "Echo, no." And he just gets them through the gate.
Uh,
Very video game. Maybe that's how.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. No, I mean, either way, like I said, we're moving towards this inevitable ending here, and it's like this culmination. And we know it's gonna be, we're trying to rip the band-aid off, but because we know it's gonna be something devastating.
Yeah. Well,
So
the good news is next week we'll be doing this live from Anaheim. So we can break it all down and then wipe our tears away.
oh my
We
gosh.
might have to do this live stream in the park now that I think about it,
Uh-huh.
considering we'll think through the logistics, but
Mhm.
normally we do these Thursday mornings. It is
Yeah,
earlier than the park would be open, but
right. That
hey,
would be awesome, though.
yeah, we'll
Do that too.
talk to
Yeah,
Bob, see if see if he'll let us do it inside the Falcon.
that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah, exciting, exciting stuff.
So, as a reminder, troopers need you, bounty hunters need you, the Jedi need you, but you're no use to them if you can't hold a plank for 10 seconds. So, get fit for the Republic, get built like a bounty hunter, get fit with the Force, try one of the 30-day challenges, and we will see you guys next week.
All right,
CT
guys.
3939 signing out.
CT 4526.
We'll
Take care,
catch
guys.
you on the next Trooper transmission.